Something moved in the trees. It was watching them, and it wasn't what they expected. Reunited by Stephen Meehan. A small team of defenders grabbed rough ropes, marching away from the wall. With each step, the guards dragged the heavy boulder across the ground, creating an exit in the settlement's barrier. When the slab struck the reinforced section, Fenton waved his squadron forward. As the last member walked through the opening, Fenton took a deep breath and signaled another squad to close the gap. With a groan, the massive stone screeched as the rocks slid into place, while Fenton stepped through the shrinking portal. He rested the stock of his rifle on the ground as his gaze drifted among the members of his unit. Once he finished the tally, he lifted his weapon to his shoulder and rubbed his chin.
Does everyone understand what Jarvis tasked us to do?
Alec raised a finger and pitched his voice.
We're searching for food, fuel, and friends, and not necessarily in that order.
Despite our friend's attitude, he's not wrong.
Fenton stepped beside the flippant man and swatted the back of Alec's head. Fenton pointed at the tree line and licked his lips.
Keep your eyes peeled for anything that might prove useful or dangerous.
When the radio attached to Fenton's hip chirped, he groaned and pulled it off his belt.
Jarvis, talk to me.
Have you reached the trees yet?
The leader whirled around and kicked the stone barrier.
Are you in the crow's nest?
Yes.
Fenton dragged his fingernails down his face, swallowing a stream of curses. When his voice died, he looked up and forced his lips to curl into a grin.
If you look out the window, you'll notice that we just walked through the wall.
Then you might have a problem.
Why?
We've got movement in the trees.
Fenton spun toward the tree line. He tapped two soldiers on the shoulder, and in unison the pair turned and leveled their weapons at the trees. As limbs swayed back and forth, Fenton inched closer.
You're calling out to discuss some swaying branches?
With the monsters roaming this planet, we'd be foolish not to jump when things sway against the wind.
The remaining rifles whirled through the air, joining Fenton. With the barrels focused on the swaying boughs, the squad closed in on the wall. When Fenton's back met the stone, he steadied himself and edged toward the forest. As he stepped in front of his team, Fenton raised a hand, stopping the squad.
What exactly are we looking at?
After taking a few steps, a branch swayed against the wind, and a pulse of yellow light tore from the crow's nest and swallowed the tree.
Hey!
Flames erupted along the trunk in an instant. Then Fenton's unit bounced off the barrier. Fenton whirled around, slamming his fist against the slab.
Open this gate!
Who's out there?
A mysterious and gruff voice shot across the glade.
Hurry and haul this stone away from the wall.
Fenton shoved his radio onto his belt as he pressed his cheek against the stock.
I'd prefer not to deal with whatever's tracking us.
A thick red beard pushed through the shadows as a heavy axe slammed into the ground beside the burning tree. He wrenched the blade free and cleaved it through the trunk. With a shove, it fell to the earth, breaking branches and choking the flames into a sputtering crawl.
Who are you? And what kind of magic lit that tree?
We've had to defend ourselves from a rather eclectic collection of monsters.
Fenton wet his lips and lowered his rifle. He brushed a finger across his nose and stepped toward the strangers, rubbing his chin.
How do we know you're not part of the horde?
Do we look like those green-skinned beasts?
The stocky figure lifted his axe, laying its shaft onto his shoulders.
Are you descendants of Tarian's expedition?
Another stout figure emerged from the shadows, jostling the first one's arm.
Ferric, I believe those are humans.
The red-haired figure leaned over his axe.
Burn. Didn't the horde wipe their kind out?
He slapped Ferric's shoulder and pointed north.
Remember, the last group of them weren't this close to our halls.
Fenton gripped Brianna's collar and pulled her behind him.
You saw what happened to Tarian and his people?
Are you their descendants?
Ferric lifted the massive axe, twirling it like a baton. Plasma bursts leapt from the crow's nest and slammed into the ground beside the figure. He eased the weapon down and rolled his head.
Bairn, I believe the stories mentioned magic bows of light, didn't they?
The second individual stepped clear of the forest and ran a finger along the blackened earth.
They did, however. The tales never described anything this destructive.
Ferric slammed his axe into the ground and raised his hands while striding over to Fenton.
We aren't humans, and we are not part of the marauding horde that's been assaulting you.
Fenton lifted his radio to his lips.
Don't shoot. I believe we found the dwarves from Tarian's logs.
Murmurs ran through the squad as the unfamiliar names settled over the soldiers. One member stepped forward. his weapon trained on the strangers.
Are you sure?
Thick belly laughter filled the air, while Ferric gripped his sides.
Aye, we're dwarves. How did you all escape the slaughter?
We hail from the same planet, but we're new to this world.
I believe that collection of humans mentioned hailing from the stars.
Ferric wiped his eyes and wrapped an arm around Fenton. The dwarf pointed at the charred patch of earth.
We've defended our halls from that relentless horde, but those weapons would ease our endless burden.
Fenton pressed the radio against his chin.
I can't authorize that trade, but I'm sure Jarvis would discuss the possibility of an even exchange.
Ferric clapped Fenton's back and tapped the device.
Why do you listen to someone who lives in that small box?
It's a communication tool.
Fenton slapped the wall.
We have guests here to meet with Jarvis.
With that, our story concludes. I hope you've enjoyed today's reprieve from your daily grind. If you like the vibe, hit that like button, drop a comment, and subscribe if you haven't already, because every bit helps get this channel spread to those who require a momentary chance to unwind. I'll see you for the next tale, my friends. Thanks for reaching the end of the video. But why not keep the rhythm going? Pick one of the videos on screen and settle in for another moment of escape. And if you haven't yet, hit subscribe and tap the bell to get notified when new tales drop.